Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Restoring Hope with Crosswinds Counseling. I'm your host, Curtis Smith. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It is always such a pleasure to have you with us every Thursday night. A huge thanks to our community partners who make it possible for us to be here each week. Shepherd Community Center, Prime 47 Downtown, and Tesco. Without their support, we simply would not be here every Thursday night, and so we are incredibly grateful to them and to our friends here at WHMB TV 40. Well, as always, we have a great show for you tonight and a special guest to kick things off tonight. She is Stephanie Amick, and she is the Executive Director of Agape Therapeutic Writing. Stephanie joins us, and thank you for spending some time with us, Stephanie.
Yeah, my pleasure.
For those that don't know your organization, tell us a little bit about Agape Therapeutic Writing.
Well, Agape has been around for over 35 years now. We have two locations, one in Cicero and one in Greenfield, and we essentially provide therapeutic horseback riding and equine-assisted learning to children and adults with disabilities. So starting at the age of 4 all the way through seniors, we serve a variety of diagnoses that range from Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, ADHD, at-risk youth, PTSD. I know a lot of these acronyms are pretty familiar to most,
right.
But and a lot, especially coming out and through COVID, a lot more individuals struggling with mental health challenges of anxiety and depression. So we use horses to bring connection and hope and healing to a variety of individuals and serve about a little over 200 each and every week. And wow. All of that's possible because of our steady Eddie horses, who are really the backbone of being able to provide the services that we do, along with our volunteers.
It's so interesting to me that people with such wildly different things in their lives can be helped by the same horse, the same program, the same thing.
Yeah.
Born with Down syndrome, ADHD, those are wildly different things.
Yeah.
How does that work? How are the horses, how is the service able to cover such a wide spectrum of issues and such a wide population?
Well, we like to have a saying at the barn that kind of says we teach a little bit about horsemanship and skills and riding and a lot about life. And so these individuals are coming looking for socialization, improving communication skills, cognitive skills. And so they do that in such a way where they start by grooming and tacking their horses with their saddle and putting the reins on and leading their horse into the arena. So each individual is working on different goals. But at the end of the day, they all kind of come back to really a number of core goals that they're trying to achieve by being there. And it's, communication, it might be physical balance and just strengthen their core. It might be how to help regulate their anxiety or and how to follow instructions. And so it is kind of special and unique that a variety of different diagnoses can come together. We only serve 4 individuals in a class at a time. So writers come and they spend an hour with us each week, and they work on they're there to work on their writing skills. And through that, they're working on kind of all of these other ancillary goals.
So why does it work? How is it that this has been so successful for 30 years, where working with horses inadvertently almost teaches all these other lessons that people with all these different backgrounds need? What are the nuts and bolts of it? How does it work?
Yeah, well, it's certainly really magical, and it's kind of like you can't experience it or know it firsthand until you've seen it or been there. It's kind of like Disneyland. You can talk about it, but the magic really happens in the arena. So it's just, horses are a prey animal, they're a herd animal, and they pick up on their surroundings. And so they have this innate nature about them of being able to sense and feel the energy that's coming from the person that's standing next to them, and then regulate to meet that need. So it's really, really unique and special that these horses connect with the individual, can sense that they might be troubled, they might be feeling anxious, they might be feeling sad, or they might have a lot of big energy, and the horse is going to help kind of bring that back down to like a central neutral place and just provide these riders what they need. So I mean, we've seen a lot of miracles at Agape. I mean, people and children, particularly who have learned how to walk after having ridden horses, because horses are very mimic the rhythm that you have when you're walking. And we've seen children say their first words. We serve our two largest populations that we serve actually are children and adults with autism, and then teens and adults with substance abuse disorder. So we serve a lot of groups as well. So we partner with a variety of residential addiction recovery groups, groups and organizations like Prevail in Noblesville, who are helping individuals coming out of trauma and become survivors of abuse and other things. And they use the horses to just help really connect them to just some really important life lessons, like how to be assertive, how to say no, how to communicate.
Tell me about the horses. You said they have a herd mentality,
Yeah.
they're a prey animal, but I can't imagine every horse would be perfect for this. Is there a certain kind of horse? Is there training that the horses have to go through to become good therapeutic horses?
Yeah, absolutely. We take caring for our horses very seriously. I mean, between our two locations, we have close to 30 horses, and a lot of them come to us kind of in their latter half of their life. They are maybe done being a show horse. We've had retired police mounted patrol horses. We've had former carriage horses who used to pull carriage, but all of them have a thing in common, that they like to work and they know they have a job to do. So we take them through, we vet them before we even bring them on property. 95% of our horses come to us donated. So thankfully, through very gracious individuals and families, and sometimes organizations like Culver Academy, who are ready to retire horses and kind of find maybe a slower, less intense work life for the horse, they'll reach out to us. And so we vet them, then we bring them on property. They go through 2 30-day trial periods. So once they pass their first 30 days, then they enter into their second 30-day where they start really working in the class. And we make sure that they're going to be happy doing what they're going to be doing, and we're going to be happy with their performance,
right,
because they're carrying really special people, and some of these people have, a lot of big energy. Some of them are very unbalanced riders where they need people to walk alongside of them. So that's where our volunteers come into play. We have volunteers who will become sidewalkers and horse handlers that help stabilize individuals until they might get the strength on their own to ride.
Fascinating. Stephanie, thank you so much. She has agreed to stay and continue the conversation, so we're going to spend a few more minutes with Stephanie right after this break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Restoring Hope. I'm Curtis Smith. Thank you for being with us tonight. We're joined by Stephanie Amick from Agape Therapeutic Riding, and Stephanie has graciously agreed to be with us for a few more minutes. Stephanie, we were talking about the horses right before. You mentioned a lot of them come to you after having done something else kind of in the second half of their life, and it dawned on me, I don't know how long a horse typically lives. What is the lifespan of a horse usually?
Yeah, it's usually somewhere between 25 to 35 years.
Okay. So you might get them at age 10, 15, 20?
Yeah, we usually get them somewhere between 15 to 20, sometimes a little younger than that, but mostly more mature and a little more docile.
Which is probably exactly what you need.
Yes, exactly. Yes, we do not need barrel racing horses that just came out of the arena and ready to run, really fast.
Right. All right, so that's the horse piece. Let's talk about humans. You always, like any organization, any nonprofit organization, you need help. You need people to volunteer time and resources. What are your needs, and then how can people who are interested in being a part of your organization connect with you?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, first and foremost, like you had mentioned, we're always in need of volunteers. So whether it's individuals, we require no horse experience necessary. So we'll teach you everything you need to know. But, individuals starting at the age of 14 to 16 can start coming out to the barn and volunteering. It's a great activity just to connect with people. It's also great for, service groups, whether you've got, a corporate group, you want to do a day of service or a half day of service, or a church organization or a youth group. So we take a variety of groups, because between our two facilities in Cicero and in Greenfield, we have close to 40 acres to take care of. So there's also facility needs. So even if you don't want to be around the horses, you want to paint fences, or you want to move hay, there's some good manual labor that's always needed.
I can't imagine you have too many people, though, that don't want to be around the horses. Are they a joy to be around? I mean, you obviously, it's your work setting.
Yeah, well.
But I imagine it's still so fun to be around them.
It is. It really is a joy. And, a lot of our volunteers will say, I came out because I want to give back and I want to serve. And they find so much, of their own hope and healing and joy and just happiness that comes from being around the horses, being around the riders. A lot of them get to see the same rider week after week, so they get to see and make that connection and see the progress that they're making each and every week. And it just becomes a nice place for people to come and volunteer and just be present, right? Like, there's not a lot of opportunity to that, where you can just put your phone away, you can really focus on the horse and the rider and just kind of get something back in return.
What about for you? How long have you been doing this? It strikes me that it maybe is a labor of love for you. What is that fulfillment like for you personally?
Well, I've been the executive director for about 3.5 years now, have had some former prior horse experience in my younger adult life, and really came into this because just want to serve. I'm really here to be a servant leader and take this organization kind of to the next phase of growth and chapter of what's next on the horizon for Agape. And that's really what excites me. And that really is all about serving more people here in Central Indiana.
So let's talk about that. Roughly how many people do you serve a year in the two locations?
We serve just over 2,000 individuals.
Wow. Already quite an impact. What do you think is, what's the vision for growing it and helping more people?
Well, the vision is a theme that we're calling Beyond the Barn. We are in the midst of a capital campaign to replace our Cicero location altogether, because it's an aging facility and we've outgrown it. So we're busting at the seams, have been for years, and have over 100 people on a waiting list now to be served. And so, it breaks my heart when we tell people, it could be a year or two before we can help you or before we can get you into a class. So we have secured the iconic Stony Creek Farms property in Noblesville and are going to be building really one of the world's premier therapeutic riding centers there. Wow. with 2 indoor arenas and an ample outdoor arena to almost triple the amount of people we can serve in a year. So it's an ambitious goal and vision, but it's needed. This work that we're doing, we just continue to see it grow, and particularly around the mental health space, there's just something really unique using horses to help people find healing and recovery and just unlocking their own potential, right?
So ideally, but realistically, when could you be in that new space, tripling the impact that you have?
Ideally, if all comes together, by the end of 2024.
Okay.
So we've got about another 18 months probably of fundraising. It's a $14 million capital campaign, so it's no small feat for an organization of our size.
Right.
But we've got some really generous transformational gifts that have happened, and the train's moving, and so hopefully we'll be ready to move in by the end of a couple years from now.
On the topic of money, and I know it's not only about money, tomorrow night is a big night for your organization. Tell us about your event.
Yeah, we have our annual gala, fundraising gala called Boots and Bow Ties. It's hosted in downtown Indianapolis. It's a sold-out event, but we raise close to $180,000 every year, and a good chunk of that goes to support our Writer Scholarship Fund. So we help about 14% of our writers every week with financial aid assistance. Families have a lot of expenses and a lot of different therapies outside of what they do at Agape to pay for, and we just try our best to help them. So there's still ways to get involved, whether you want to participate in our silent auction or help buy one of our mystery horseshoe raffle boxes with a chance to win a cash prize. But you can go to our website and find out more information.
And that website is
agapewriting.org.
agapewriting.org. And I suspect that's not just the place to get connected tomorrow night, but if someone wanted to know more about your organization, perhaps volunteer, find out, perhaps they need to use your services, that website is probably the best way to go.
It is the premier place to go.
Awesome. Stephanie, a closing thought here for people who are just maybe this hasn't been on the radar, they haven't learned anything. What would your closing thought in 30 seconds be to someone who's learned about Agape for the first time tonight?
Well, I would say that if you have a desire to connect with people, to connect with horses, or to help individuals with disabilities, this is a perfect fit. Whether you want to get involved and give back your time, or you're looking for some place to direct your philanthropy, we're a growing organization and have a lot of really great opportunities for people to get plugged in. So I would just encourage you to come out. Happy to do tours, and the barn doors are always open.
Wonderful. Stephanie, thank you for being with us tonight. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Restoring Hope with Crosswinds Counseling. In our Counseling Corner segment tonight, Sharonda Moore joins us to talk about why she is a counselor and the benefits of counseling for everyone involved.
My name is Sharonda Moore, and I'm a mental health counselor here at Crosswinds Counseling. I think one of the most interesting and healing things about the therapeutic relationship is that as a counselor, I get just about the same amount as I put into my clients. I think one of the most unique approaches that I have about counseling is an appreciation for therapy across the lifespan. I have clinical experience that have been able to support both for children, teenagers, adults, and even geriatric populations. I believe therapy can be really, really scary to start with, but with the right support, empathetic understanding, and patience, I think that people can truly find the answers to the tough questions and challenges that they're facing. If you're interested in setting up an appointment, please visit crosswindscounseling.org.
Welcome back. Each week here on Restoring Hope, we bring you our Beacon of Hope segment. Tonight, Crosswinds chaplain Will Gross is back. He takes us into one of the most famous and fascinating books of the Old Testament, Daniel.
Hi, I'm Will Gross, chaplain for Crosswinds. Today I want to talk to you about the book of Daniel. Daniel's an exciting book. We think about lions' dens and fiery furnaces and all the exciting things in Daniel. But I want to talk about the person for a minute. Daniel was a man of prayer. We remember Daniel was thrown into the lion's den because he was praying to God at a time when that was illegal. We think about Daniel, we think about visions, we think about prophecies, we think about angels, all this exciting stuff. But Daniel is a man of prayer. In Daniel chapter 9, verse 20, we see that Daniel says, "Well, I was speaking and praying, confessing my sins and the sins of my people Israel, and making my request to the Lord for his holy hill." We find the angel Gabriel shows up and interrupts Daniel's prayer and gives him an amazing message. But the first half of that chapter is Daniel confessing sins to God, telling God the things he's done wrong, telling God the things that the nation of Israel has done wrong. We know of Daniel as a man who hears from God, and you can't tell me that part of that is not related to the fact that he is willing and excited and able to confess sins. We live in a culture now that celebrates everything that's wrong. It celebrates sin. Daniel didn't do that. Daniel took time to tell God what he'd done wrong, what the nation of Israel had done wrong. God already knew. God had levied punishment onto his people because they didn't do what he said. And Daniel takes the time, makes the effort to connect with God and say, God, I'm sorry. We did it wrong. Daniel talks about the shame that is brought upon Israel. But we know, we read Jeremiah, God had plans for the people of Israel. God had plans to redeem them and restore them, and he did. And God wants to do the same thing for you. And I promise the key is confession. And that is the message of hope.
Thanks, Will. Daniel is always such an interesting read, and there are so many lessons to be learned in that great book. Well, tonight, as our time comes to a close, we spent time this evening talking about mental health and learning about Crosswinds Counseling. In hearing about this organization, perhaps you feel a call to join the team. Crosswinds Counseling is hiring. We need great men and women to join the organization and help us provide to the many people in need. If you're interested in pursuing a career at Crosswinds, please visit crosswindscounseling.org/careers. We have opportunities right now in Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, and Dayton, Ohio. Please check out crosswindscounseling.org/careers to see all of those job openings. As we wrap up tonight, thanks to all of you for joining us. It's always great to have you with us every Thursday night. And a big thanks again to our sponsors who partner with us each and every week: Tesco, Shepherd Community Center, and Prime 47 Downtown. And of course, thanks to our friends here at WHMB TV 40 who make it all possible. We'll see you next Thursday night at 9:30. Stay safe and be blessed.